What's up, and welcome to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. I'm your host, Kat Kozad, manifestation expert, money mindset and fulfillment coach, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur. Come sit with me while I spill the real tea on what it's like to practice using intentional manifestation, demystify all of the woo-woo and confusing bullshit that comes along with creating the life of your dreams, and give you a realistic view of what it's like to be on a personal, spiritual, and professional growth journey. The goal of this podcast is to support and guide you towards manifesting all of your dreams, shed light on the things that people are too scared to talk about, and encourage you to become the person who gets to have it all, be it all, and do it all. I am so happy you are here. Let's fucking do this thing. Have you ever wondered why manifestation seems and feels so effortless for some people, while for other people, and maybe for yourself, it feels like you're dragging nails? It feels like one of the most challenging things that you could possibly do. And if you have ever wondered that, today's episode is perfect for you. What's up, loves, and welcome back to the No Bullshit Manifestation Show. Today we're going to be talking about how your identity has everything to do with manifestation and how it directly impacts all of your manifestations in your life. And just like I said a minute ago, if you've ever wondered if there's some sort of secret to manifestation, that some people can do it so effortlessly while other people can't, this is it. It comes down to your identity. So let's talk about how your identity impacts your manifestations. On a very macro scale, so on a very big scale, what we identify with in our lives is what we know with absolute certainty on a conscious and subconscious level. And what we know with absolute certainty is what we manifest into our lives, because the basis of manifestation is belief, and these things that we identify with are things that have been hammered into us from the moment we were born. They are the things that we know so deeply, the things that we don't have to question, the things that we just know day in and day out. I identify with this because that belief is so deep-rooted inside of yourself and so subconscious. And our identity is created through the environment that we grew up in, our family's dynamic, the way that our financial circumstances were growing up, the way that your parents talked to you, treated you, made you feel, the different activities that you did growing up, the things that you liked. All of those different things and so much more make up your identity. And all of this exists on a very subconscious level. So with these subconscious things that have been hammered into you through your environment, your parents, primary caregivers, society, media, teachers, whatnot, growing up, your identity is formed. And typically, majority of people think that once their identity is formed, that's it. There's nothing else. That's who they are. That's why they are the way they are. And you may have heard people say that in your life. That's one of the stories that I've heard over and over again from many people in my life is, this is why I am the way I am. I'm never going to change. This is who I am. And with that, people will oftentimes identify with things that do not serve them. So things that don't support them having, being, and doing every single thing that they want, things that keep them stuck and stagnant in a position that they don't necessarily want to be in, because they believe that once identity is formed, again, that it is static. But identity is not static. And if you are identifying with things that do not serve you, then that is where you get to start to shift and change your identity so that you can create the identity. And truly, honestly, it's not even creating a different identity than who you actually are, but getting back to the core of who you are, your roots of your soul, your heart, and what you are actually here for on planet Earth. Because growing up, we are fed so many limiting beliefs, so many lies. Majority of us experience some sort of trauma. All of us experience some sort of trauma that morphs the way that we perceive ourselves. But at our core, we are all incredibly powerful, and we all possess the energy that we need to manifest the life of our dreams. So going back to identifying with these things that don't necessarily serve you, through the different limiting beliefs that we pick up, through the different experiences that we have, there's so many experiences that can give us stories that we can create stories off of that then we make a part of our identity and don't necessarily serve us. So what exactly do I mean when I say this? So a few examples of this could be like identifying with your emotional states, saying things like, I am depressed, I am anxious, I am sad, I am an angry person, I am XYZ. It's like, no, you are not those things. You are experiencing those things, but emotion is temporary. And emotion is not something that can be a part of your identity unless you make it, unless you choose to identify with these different habits or things that you've experienced that aren't necessarily serving you. Other things that I've heard is like, I am anxiously attached. I am a walking red flag. I am the embodiment of trauma. I am XYZ. Again, all of these things that don't necessarily serve you. And one of the biggest things that I've seen with this little side tangent rant is that like social media normalizes us like making these things funny, talking about trauma and making it funny because, of course, that is a coping mechanism and a lot of people use it as a coping mechanism. But when you identify with these things, you are essentially telling your subconscious mind that you want to experience more of these things in your life. You want to manifest more opportunities into your life to prove those unsupportive things to be true. So when you are saying, I'm a walking red flag, then your subconscious mind is saying, okay, yes, she is a walking red flag. And then that energy being emitted out into the universe is attracting back in more opportunities to prove to yourself that you are a walking red flag. If you always say to yourself, oh my God, I'm so depressed, I'm so anxious, then your subconscious mind is saying, yes, I am depressed. Yes, I am anxious. And that energy is being emitted out into the universe. And then by the universal law of attraction, you're attracting more opportunities back into your life to prove to you that you are anxious and you are depressed. Because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what is imagined. Your subconscious mind is always saying yes to you. So any of these comments that you're making on your identity or any of these like, quote, I am statements that you are making that do not support your highest good are creating a barrier between you and manifesting the life that you want. I'm going to say that again because this is huge. And this ties into what I was saying at the very, very beginning of the episode of why it's so effortless and natural for some people to manifest everything that they want into their lives and so not for other people, is because if you are identifying with anything that is not supporting your highest good, if you are making comments about your identity, making I am statements, creating jokes or whatever it may be about these less than ideal things in your life, then you are creating a barrier between you and the life that you want to manifest. And this is where doing the healing work, doing the inner work comes so in handy, because when you can stop identifying with these things that are not supporting you and learn how to create an identity that is in alignment with your higher self, then you are naturally going to start manifesting more of the high vibrational and abundant things that you desire into your life, because that's just who you are. This is one of the most important things to understand when it comes to identity. And this is something that I always talk about on the No Bullshit Manifestation Show, because genuinely, like, manifestation is so fucking easy. It's so fucking easy. And especially like for me, where I'm at in my life after I've done all of this inner work, because there's none of these confusing manifestation methods that I need to use or specific rituals or any of the things. It's literally just the embodiment of who I am, because I have created the identity of the person who just gets to have what she wants, who just gets to live this big, beautiful, abundant life, who just gets to naturally and effortlessly manifest every single thing that I desire into my life, because that is my identity now. And that is who I am at my core. I am that powerful. And so are you. So I want to give you an example of past versions of myself and a story that I used to live on, because it wasn't always this way for me. And I couldn't have said to you even 2 years ago that that was the reality for me. Because 2 years ago at Christmas, oh my God, I was burnt the fuck out. I was so burnt out. Literally 2 years ago today when I'm recording this on Christmas Eve. It was my anniversary of hiring my life coach, who's just an absolute godsend. But I was so burnt out, and the only thing that I identified with at that time was my business and hustle culture and thinking that I had to work my ass off. And it's insane to look back and see how much has changed in 2 years, because this is the reality for you as well. Everything can change so quickly when you are willing to shift, when you are willing to do the inner work, when you're willing to change your story, release these things from the past, and create a better identity that's going to support you and your manifestations. So we're taking it back to even further than 2 years ago. I would say like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. 4 years ago was like probably headed towards the peak of this in my life, but all of my years prior to that, I identified as the most anxious person alive. I literally would like say that to my brother. I would say that to my mom. I would say that to everybody in my life. Like, I'm the most anxious person alive. I would literally worry about worrying. I would worry that I would be worrying about something in the future. And so because I was worried that I would be worrying about something in the future, I was like literally stuck in this like downward spiral constantly. I never thought I was going to be happy again. I didn't think that it was in the cards for me to ever find peace inside of myself. And I was just constantly trying to find things to numb out, because I was living in such like a perpetual state of anxiety. And because of that, I made that my identity. I made being the most anxious person alive my identity. And because of that, I continue to manifest more and more experiences into my life to prove to me that I was anxious. Just like I was talking about, the subconscious mind is always saying yes to you, and it doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So I was manifesting all of these circumstances into my life to prove to myself that I was the most anxious person alive. And all of this anxiety truly led me to my rock bottom position, which if you haven't listened to the podcast, you can go back and listen to an episode that I think I did back in June. Yeah, it's definitely back in June. It's called 3 years ago today, I made myself the promise to live by the law of attraction. That's my full story of hitting my rock bottom and how everything has changed since then. But it was at that rock bottom moment that I finally found intentional manifestation and started to do the inner work. And it helped me realize that I wasn't actually any of those things that I was identifying with. And that those things that I was experiencing were temporary. And those things that I was experiencing, I could be the observer of. Because we do not need to attach to every single thought that runs through our head. We do not need to identify with every single thought that runs through our head. Because just like the clouds come and go, our emotions and our thoughts are temporary. They are going to come and go. They are not here to stick around and stay and become the identity that we live and breathe every single day. We have a choice of what gets to stay and what we get to identify with. And through doing this inner work in my own life and putting the energy and effort into disconnecting from the past stories that I continually told myself and hung onto, as well as the identity that didn't serve me, I was able to create a more supportive identity. And I've had so many identities since the beginning of my intentional manifestation journey. Literally just yesterday, I was making my year in review video for my Instagram Reels. And my goodness, it made me emotional because who I was at the beginning of 2022 is a completely different woman than who I am now. This year has broke me down and humbled me and built me back up in ways that I never knew were possible. And who I am right now and where I stand today is the most proud, confident, trusting, loving, worthy version of myself that I have ever been. And that ties us back into the fact that identity is not static. Who I was when I started is not who I am now. Who I was at the beginning of this year is not who I am now, because your identity gets to change. And this is so important for the manifestation process, because in order for us to manifest the life that we dream of, we must evolve, which means that we must allow past versions of ourselves to die off so that we can be reborn into even greater versions of ourselves. Who you are when you start something is not going to be who you are when you get what you want. Who you are when you start something is not going to be who you are when you get what you want, because this manifestation journey is about becoming. It's about becoming the version of yourself who is so aligned with your heart's desire in each and every season of your life, because those desires will change. And it's going to require you to change with it. And this is something to not fear. It's something to embrace. It's something to get excited about, because life gets to be ever evolving. How fucking boring would it be if we had our one identity and our one set path for the rest of our lives and we were just supposed to stick on it? Hell no, that's not the life for me though. And when you allow yourself to change and shift this identity in different seasons of your life, you are going to experience greater and greater levels of abundance. And you will reach the place, just like I was saying I'm at, where it's like you, without a shadow of a doubt, just know that you are capable. You naturally and effortlessly get to attract and manifest the things that you desire into your life. You were born for that dream life. Your success is inevitable. You get to have every single thing that you want. That is the importance of identity. You get to create that for yourself. It doesn't have to be the way that it's always been. It doesn't have to be this story of all of the woes and all of the things from the past and all of the limitations. No, 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 no. It gets to be everything and anything that you want it to be. So there you have it. That is how your identity impacts your manifestations. And if this episode resonated with you and you know that it could help somebody else, please do them a favor by sharing it with them. Whether that be your friends, your family, posting it on your Instagram story. If you do post it on your Instagram story, tag me in it. But whoever it is, please share this message with them, because as we step into 2023, I know everybody is going to want to create the changes and the shifts that they desire for their lives. And this is the quickest and easiest way to do it. This is the most long-lasting and sustainable way to do it. So please do that. Please share with the people in your life. And I am sending you all of my love. I will chat with you on the next episode. Oh my gosh. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I'm so grateful to have these no bullshit talks with you. If you enjoyed today's episode or the podcast as a whole, please spread the love by leaving me a review on iTunes or sharing the podcast with others. This is how I will be able to spread more of these good vibes and be able to make more of an impact on the lives of others. And if you're not already part of all of the goodness and communities that I have to offer, check out the show notes. I have links to the different ways that I can support you on your manifestation journey and help you live a life full of more money, fulfillment, and freedom. But that is all for now. So big love and hugs, and I will chat with you soon, babe.